First off, good afternoon and welcome to today's press conference. My name is Dusty Young, Associate Director here at the New Mexico Activities Association, and on behalf of Executive Director Sally Marquez and the rest of our staff, I would like to say thank you for your attendance of today's event. Today is a special day for the Activities Association as we are proud to announce the individuals that will represent the NMAA's Hall of Fame class of 2015. The NMAA Hall of Fame was established in 1976 and is comprised of an elite group of 91 accomplished individuals who have made significant contributions to interscholastic athletics and activities in New Mexico. In order to be considered, nominees must show great support of the NMAA's philosophy and objectives. They must have a combination of involvement in formulating regulations and procedures for various interscholastic education programs, and they must have a minimum of 25 years of service, 20 of which must have been in New Mexico. Nominations are then screened by the NMAA Hall of Fame Selection Committee, which consists of current and former leaders within interscholastic athletics and activities. The committee meets in October each year and then selects a maximum of 4 individuals for induction. 2 months ago, this committee met and felt that 4 more individuals were in fact deserving of this prestigious honor. The class of 2015 includes Angelo DiPaolo, Eugene Montgomery, Dan Salzwedel, and Larry Waters. At this time, we will now bring to the podium each inductee or an individual speaking on their behalf to address the audience. Please note Mr. Salzwedel sends his apologies as he had a death in the family and could not be in attendance here today. Although no questions will be taken at this time, each individual will be made available for media interviews at the conclusion of the conference. NMAA Sports Information Director Tyler Dunkel will assist with this process. Now I'd like to bring to the podium Mr. Sammy Chioda, who will be speaking on behalf of NMAA Hall of Fame's 92nd member, Angelo DiPaolo.
Thank you. Thank you, Dusty, and good afternoon. It is truly an honor to say a few words on behalf of my late cousin and friend, Angelo DiPaolo. His involvement with schools included administration, teaching, coaching, and above all, friendships with everybody he came in contact with. He was actively involved with the New Mexico Activities Association, and often you would see him at NMAA activities doing his part and then some, whether it was at a meeting, golf tournament, or firing the gun at a starting line at one of the postseason meets to help the overall cause. Not to mention his countless volunteer hours he so graciously gave our community, state, and region to make a difference in the lives of others. We worked together in the local youth football league in Gallup, the Tony Dorsett Touchdown Football League. He served as coach liaison and as an extraordinary board member with our group. Angelo was a tremendous husband to Diane, excellent father to his children, Tony and Angela, and awesome grandfather to his wonderful grandchildren. He was a great individual overall who cared about our youth. He got it when it came to being responsible, accountable, and caring with others. Growing up, we learned we're here on earth to serve one another. This is how Angelo lived his life, helping others, being compassionate, greeting everyone, strangers and people he knew. He was truly a diplomat. I never saw Angelo get mad or upset about things. He would get quiet for a moment, as if he was let down, but he quickly bounced back and knew what happened, and what we did from that, what we learned from it, that would help us do better things the next time. Daily, common friends and acquaintances we shared will always share a story or two with me regarding the relationship they had with Angelo. More notably, a variety of native people from the greater Gallup area often comment on how Angelo guided them through rough times in their lives and literally showed them the way to make something of themselves and to work through turbulent times. He was the role model they looked up to, and he never let them down. He was their friend, neighbor, and confidant. We talked, joked, laughed, reminisced, got serious, and appreciated the time we spent in each other's company. A quick story I wish to share with you on a real positive and fun side. We had just received numerous shoulder pad racks at TDFL that needed assembling. Guys in the audience would relate to this. We unwrapped the boxes and looked things over, and his comment, "Hey, this will be easy." So we proceeded without looking at the instructions. Guess what? Upon completion, there were extra parts we did not know went where. So then we looked at the instruction sheets after everything was completed and realized we had to go back and disassemble everything just to insert the missing pieces. Angelo never got upset about it. We simply looked at each other and we started laughing. That set the tone for the remainder of the evening and shifted things from serious concentration of assembly to one of fun and total enjoyment. We lost a great one in Angelo DiPaolo, and if there's anything to live our lives with day to day with the legacy he has left behind, we should always focus on the relationship we had with him, the stories, the special moments that we had together. The selection of his honor here with the NMAA is truly an affirmation of Angelo DiPaolo and his legacy. The entire family is grateful for this recognition that will live forever in the hall and in our lives. Thank you. I'd like to turn it over to Angela now, who will say a few words, his daughter. Angela.
I don't know if I can follow that. Sorry. On behalf of my mom, Diane, my brother, Antonio, who's not able to be here today, myself, and our children, we are completely humbled and honored for this day to come. When my father was first diagnosed with cancer back in June, he and my mom moved to San Antonio to live with me. And he was fixated on the fact that he had to get a nomination into the NMAA. Regardless of how sick he was, whatever he was going through, he kept telling our mom that she had to finish it. She had to finish the nomination. I wish nothing more than that he would have had the opportunity to comprehend that he was then being nominated. When Mr. Chambers reached out to my mom in July or August and let her know that he would be nominating my father, we were completely honored, and we wish nothing more that he could have understood what had happened. And then when we found out that he had, received the honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, we weren't able to share that. We shared it with him, and we celebrated, and he wasn't able to enjoy it. But I know today that he's here with us, and he's completely honored because of the honor that he's felt by everybody here. The NMAA meant the world to him. I don't know who Sally is, but whoever she is, I probably heard her name more than I've heard anybody else's name. Mr. Pino, everybody, he cared about the youth, and he's instilled those values in my brother and I. Both of us have a lot of interest in involvement in youth communities and youth sports in the areas where we reside, and I think that my brother and I talk about it a lot, that we hope to be able to continue to live the way that he lived, as an ambassador for youth, and to be involved and to build these people into strong individuals in our communities. So again, on behalf of our entire family, my dad's brother and sister are here today too, to Sammy and to everybody else who participated in getting him into the Hall of Fame. We're grateful, and thank you.
Thank you, Sammy and Angela. Sadly, Angelo did pass away in mid-November, but it wasn't before he touched so many lives during a 40-year career, most of which in the Gallup-McKinley County School District. At this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Johnny Montgomery, who will be addressing the audience on behalf of the NMAA Hall of Fame's 93rd member, UG Montgomery. After serving as a teacher, coach, and administrator for nearly 20 years, UG took over as the executive secretary of the NMAA in 1952, a position that he held for nearly 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, UG's son, Dr. Johnny Montgomery.
I just want to, first of all, thank the NMAA for this honor that they bestowed on my dad. It means a lot to our family, and I wish my mom had lived long enough to see this, but I know she's, she knows about it anyway. Dad, one of the things that he loved sports. And he loved kids, and so for him to take this position with the New Mexico Activity Association, and for all those years, it was a job that he loved, and I think he didn't mind going to work at all. I mean, he looked forward to it. He looked forward to working with the kids and everything. A little bit different then than it is now. There was just my dad, and his secretary Dorothy, and that was it. And there's a little office up on the second story of Johnson Gym. You know, and one of my jobs, I got to help run. They sent out a bulletin every month. I think we sent about 1,500 of them out, and so I had to mimeograph all these and put them together and everything. So I remember that. I remember the names. I look at all those coaches up on the wall, and many of those names I still remember from pasting labels on. But anyway, I just wanted to, you know, Dad already received the Hall of Fame as far as a dad. I mean, we loved our dad, and I think he loved us. And one of the things that he felt very strongly about as far as the youth and the kids in school and everything was that the need for them to be in other activities other than just school. He always said that kids were going to be busy doing something. They could either be doing something good or they could be doing something bad. And he was a proponent of them doing something good. And it didn't matter whether it was sports, band, drama, you know, whatever, the clubs. He just felt like each kid needed to be involved in something that they could actually be proud of. And so that was one of the goals, one of his goals. You know, I can remember. I mean, he was quite a person. He felt very strongly that parents needed to be involved with their kids, and he lived that. He lived it to the fullest. You know, I can think of, you know, one time I was playing on the tennis team at UNM, and we didn't have a whole lot of money in our budget at the time, but we were going on a trip up to Colorado and Wyoming, and we were taking the coach's car and one of the other kids' car, and we hit La Baja Hill, and the kid's car, the radiator went out on him, and we limped into Santa Fe. And I got on the phone and called my dad, and he said, well, he said, if you'll give me about, he said, it's kind of towards the end of the week, if you'll give me about 15 minutes, I'll run home and get some clothes and come up and pick you guys up and go up with you. And which he did. And that was, you know, that's something I'll never forget. His willingness to give of himself and to go kind of beyond the call of duty. So, you know, we had, when I was growing up, they had their yearly meetings for the NMAA, and at the time, the national president was pretty family oriented, and he had it in places like the Wisconsin Dells, Maine, Lookout Mountain, Tennessee. I remember the Grand Canyon, the Tetons, Glacier Park. And he just made it a family time. I mean, we drove, and but he made it a point to educate us on these trips, and we'd go to national monuments and things like that. But those are times that I, as a kid, and now I, as an adult, you know, will never forget. And so that was just kind of the person he was. You know, he loved life. Like I said, he was kind of a competitive type guy. I think if you saw on his resume, he played one year. He played 5 sports at Highlands University, and in 4 years, I think he earned 17 letters. You know, which is kind of unheard of. But he loved competition, and he loved to play cards. And he was as competitive at cards as he was, you know, on the tennis court or on the basketball court or whatever. I mean, it didn't matter whether you're playing bridge or you're playing nosy hearts. I mean, he played to win. But, you know, our whole family we do appreciate the honor that has been bestowed on him. And I know he's, you know, accomplished a lot when he was in the office. He was a people person, and he was really good at resolving conflicts, and so he was well suited for that position. But I do thank y'all for the honor that y'all have bestowed on him, and our whole family appreciates it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Montgomery. Now I'd like to bring to the podium the NMAA Hall of Fame's 95th member, Mr. Larry Waters. After spending nearly 5 years in education in Minnesota, Larry moved to New Mexico, where he has since served as a teacher, coach, and administrator within the Albuquerque Public School District for over 35 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Larry Waters.
God does have a sense of humor when he brings a young man from small town, south central Minnesota, to New Mexico and throws him in the middle of what at the time was an emerging athletic program. Basketball, football, and baseball were big time in New Mexico. And when I first came here, one of the first things I said was, New Mexico, that's great, because I was coaching soccer in Minnesota. And when I came down here, I figured, oh, there's going to be all kinds of soccer all over New Mexico. When I got here, there wasn't. And so, with the help of a number of people in the community, including people like Dr. Montgomery and others, a lot of names that I'm seeing. When I could sit here and tell you a little bit about every person that comes up here almost on that chart that's in this Hall of Fame, because they were all instrumental in not only developing myself as an athletic coach, teacher, and administrator, but working on the entire state. And so it's a great honor. I want to thank the New Mexico Activity Association Hall of Fame Committee. What an honor it is for this small town boy from Minnesota to come to New Mexico and be recognized by such an austere organization. It really is significant. I am the living person that is being inducted, but Angelo was a wonderful, wonderful friend, administrator. I miss him dearly. I did not know Mr. Montgomery, but like I said, Angelo was something very special to all of us younger coaches and younger administrators in this state. We lost another one this week in Mike Enright. Those of you who have been around for a while realize that Mike passed away earlier this week, and another great loss to the athletic community in New Mexico. I've had the privilege of working at Highland, and I'm looking at guys like Bill Gentry and Jack Rushing and other people that I had the privilege of coaching with there. From there, I moved to La Cueva. I've been at La Cueva for 28 years. What a wonderful experience I've had, from Alan Crone to Sue Griffin to Joanne Coffey to Todd Resch, and now with Dana Richardson. What a wonderful administrative team that has given me the opportunity to coach and to be an administrator. And especially as I look out at the audience, I look at my wife, who has been so supportive, trying to raise two athletic boys and follow a husband around who spent an awful lot of time with his feet on grass. She's just been a godsend for me. I see two ex-players here, and I really appreciate the fact they both played for me at La Cueva, and they are now taking over that position, or have taken over, not now taking over. They are taking over that position that I left a number of years ago, and continuing in the La Cueva soccer tradition. I am just so honored to be part of that wall. What an honorable and professional group of men and women from throughout the state. Again, thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, thank you to the NMAA, and congratulations to the people that are being inducted. What a wonderful honor to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Once again, if you can help me recognize the NMAA Hall of Fame's class of 2015, Angelo DiPaolo, Eugene Montgomery, Dan Salzwedel, and Larry Waters. Before moving to the interview portion of the press conference, I would like to remind you that the official Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the class of 2015 will take place during the U.S. Bank State Basketball Championships. The induction ceremony and luncheon will be held on Thursday, March 12th at 12 noon at the Albuquerque Marriott Pyramid Hotel. The ring ceremony will then take place that evening during halftime of the 6:30 p.m. Class 5A boys semifinal. In addition, please note that in an effort to further promote the NMAA Hall of Fame, the video you have seen on the screens above will soon be posted on the NMAA website. Lastly, with assistance from the NMAA Foundation, a portable Hall of Fame will be created and displayed at Wise Pies Arena during the state basketball tournament. At this time, Tyler Dunkel will work with each of you to coordinate individual media interviews with each inductee. Thank you again for your attendance, and congratulations once more to our inductees.
Well, I know that when I first got here and we moved to the fall, that the football coaches were really threatened by the fact that they felt like they may be losing athletes to soccer and not playing football. So they really, that was kind of where a little bit of the pushback came. Just the fact that many schools felt like they didn't have enough athletes to field that big football team as well as a 20, 22 players soccer team. So I think that was it. Facilities was an issue. We played in some crazy places. We played at an elementary school that had a track with a semi-grass dirt area in the middle. We played at mid schools. We played at Van Buren Mid School. We played at Wilson Mid School in the middle of their track. We really didn't have facilities at the time. When Bullhead opened, that provided more of an opportunity for us. But I played a game. We played a game at the Truman Boys Club. It was at the time it was Highland versus St. Pius, and the trees there overhang the field. And so if you were hitting a long ball down the sideline, there was a chance it could get hung up in a tree. So facilities were an issue, but Buddy Robertson, Mickey Miller, and Ruth Jackson were very supportive in pushing it in APS, and that allowed us to take the steps that we took. And then there was a gentleman who was on the school board, who was in the Albuquerque High area, a guy by the name of Larry Gurman, and he pushed it with the NMAA. And James Odell, who took over after Mr. Montgomery, James Odell said, yeah, let's do it. So in 1981, we had our first ever really state championship. Well, every year we're adding new programs. I mean, even charter schools now are putting, having high school teams. So more and more teams are joining and playing under the NMAA guidelines. So, and we're getting more and more recognition nationwide as far as our players go. There's a lot of really excellent former players from New Mexico that are coaching at very high levels. We've got Mike Grazik, you know, at UNM, and but there's a number of other players that are coaching at very high levels. So it's a great environment, and it's great to be part of it.